Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly FX Options Report. Today is Wednesday, April 21st, 2010. In midweek trade, the major U.S. stock averages are trading flat and are trading in a tight range in both positive as well as negative territory. Now, it has been a light on the U.S. economic data front today, and U.S. earnings reports have been in focus. Now, investors are also keeping an eye on Washington, D.C. as a proposed bank tax could raise $90 billion in the U.S. over the next decade. And in terms of what we're seeing in the spot FX market, the U.S. dollar is trading mixed against the majors, higher against the euro and yen, but lower against the British pound. Now, the euro currency is seeing downward pressure in today's session and hit two-week lows against the U.S. currency. Now, the euro currency hit a low today as the Greek German government bond yield spread past 500 basis points to record highs. Talks are also underway in Greece with the EU and IMF talking regarding their bailout plan. Now, over in the UK, jobless claims for the latest week fell more than expected, down by 32,900. Meanwhile, the BOE April meeting minutes also showed a unanimous vote for an unchanged policy decision regarding its rate decision as well as the asset purchase target. Now, one way to trade your views on U.S. dollar strength or weakness is to take a look at IC's FX options. Now, one advantage is that they are U.S. dollar denominated. For more information, you can go to www.fxoptions.com. And in our next segment, which is our daily technical trend report, let's start out by looking at the AUX, that is the US dollar against the Australian currency. Now, for that ICFX option pair, the downside does prevail and the RSI is badly directed. The preference of trading central analysts for the AUX is short positions below the pivot of 114 with targets standing at 106 and 102 in extension. And taking a look at the BPX, which is the US currency against the British pound, caution is advised. The pair is pulling back on its support, and the RSI for the BPX is currently mixed and does call for caution. The preference of trading central analysts for the BPX is long positions above 64, with targets standing at 67.50 and 70 in extension. And for the CDD, which is the U.S. currency against the Canadian dollar, it is under pressure right now. The RSI has struck against its neutrality area at 50% and is reversing to the downside. The preference of trading central analysts for the CDD is short positions below 103.50, with targets currently standing at 99.50 and 97.15 in extension. And moving on to the EUI, which is the U.S. currency against the euro. For that pair, the upside does prevail, and the pair has also rebounded on its support as the RSI is turning up. Now, the preference of trading central analysts for the EUI's long positions above the pivot, which is at 72.50, with targets standing at 75.30 and 77.50 in extension. Moving on to the SFC, which is the U.S. dollar against the Swiss franc, a rebound is expected. The RSI is also supported by a rising trend line, and the pair should rebound on its new support. Now, the preference of trading central analysts for the SFC is long positions above 105, with targets standing at 108.75 and 110.25 in extension. Last but not least, looking at the YUK, which is the US dollar against the Japanese yen, the upside does prevail. Now, the pair does stand within a bullish channel, and it's rebounding on its support as the RSI is turning up. Now, the preference of trading central analysts for the YUK's long positions above 90, with targets standing at 96 and 97.90 in extension. Now, let's move on to your weekly trend opinion for the major ISE FX option pairs. Now, last week we saw that the US dollar had started to strengthen against all the other currencies as it rebounded on its major supports. Now, in terms of portfolio performance since its inception, which was August 2007, it is up by 1,362.24%. And since the beginning of this year, January 2010, it is up by 82.15%. Now, looking ahead to your trade alerts, we do have two for you here right now. And trading central analysts are considering calls on the SFC as well as calls on the YUK. Now, in terms of the calls on the SFC, the pair should rebound on its support, and the RSI is supported by a rising trend line. Trading central analysts are also looking at the YUK and buying calls on the YUK because a further US dollar advance is expected. Now, looking ahead to next week, trading central analysts will be looking at a couple of ICFX option pairs, including the CDD, NZD, as well as the PZO. Now, the reason why they will be looking at the CDD is because it has struck against a new resistance And also it does remain under pressure as the RSI is turning down. They will also be looking at the NZD because it is challenging its short-term bullish channel lower boundary, and the RSI is badly directed. And for the PZO, it has broken below its bearish channel lower boundary and does remain under pressure. And that does wrap it up for a weekly FX options report. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday for your latest update. Thanks for watching and have a great day.